super excited to have this, and I feel very fortunate that I have been knowing Dwayne for 30 plus years, and I have been invited for this Lightning Path .NET plus New Moon group, and I kind of volunteered for this particular time, and I made up this slideshow, and I think what I will do, we're just gonna go through the slides, and then maybe after that, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, it's good to have if you wanna take some note, if you have comments or questions, and then when we finish, then we can come back for the discussion. So this is my first slide, and here you go. And let me just see here. Next. See, yeah. So this is how it started. It started in May 2022 when I think we all received this invitation to join me in a monthly online discussion centered on the lightning path, my emerging synthesis of some of the humanity's most ancient and enduring fields of knowledge. And this is, of course, a Dwayne invitation to all of us, sharing his plus year synthesis. And I think I'm just going to go for the next slide, which is the Skywalker, and that is on Dwayne website. And yeah, I think I sent you a quick little note that I would appreciate if you can tell us about this piece of art, what happened, how this came by, instead of me elaborating on it. So would you mind, Wayne, to tell us what happened with the Skywalker art before and after?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was when I lived in Bragg Creek near Calgary. And I kind of opened up to my artist while I was living there. And it was right around the time of the Gulf War. And so here I was in my studio, enjoying this opening up into an artistic, creative kind of mode of life. And at the same time, the news coming from the war was, I found, really oppressive. It was just yet another war in a far off place, but thousands of people being killed, and such destruction of the land, and I was just really upset by it all. And I thought, God, what can I do here, to counteract in some way what's happening out in the world? And the message was to turn inward and to really center in on some of the sacred knowledge I had gained in my previous year's study. And that had taken me into the Mayan calendar, specifically the Tzolkin, as it's called. And I had, or it had been revealed to me that there's a direct connection between the Tzolkin and the human light body, as it's called. There were connections to a really vast cosmology and a returning myth, the myth of the feathered serpent. So a lot of things rolled into one at that time. And for this particular painting, I had this compulsion to express what I was seeing on the inner levels. And this was the image that came from that. And I had an old painting that I had ripped up. And I thought, well, I could use those pieces because they definitely convey this notion of chaos and destruction. So that's what you have at the bottom here. And then the two vertical skywalkers, as I call them, represent a portion of the Tzolkin. There's a series of 13 hieroglyphs associated with the figure on the left. And that draws in the Tzolkin, and the temple, as I call it, that's shown there, would be the temple of thunder, because at the very top is the hieroglyph for thunder and the thunder beings. Whereas the next figure on the right is a kind of the archetype of the resonant, empowered human who expands consciousness, through resonance with energy fields. And so the two of them together kind of give a just a little snapshot of a portion of the larger journey, which, as I've come to call it, of the lightning path. So it's a path that proceeds from hieroglyph to hieroglyph, up the pyramid, down the pyramid, up the pyramid, down the pyramid. So there's a series of 20 temples that can be explored in that way. So, but as I was painting this particular image, I had sketched out the light body figures and the pyramid, and in the background was the news blaring, some latest thing about the war, and the phrase surgical bombing came up, and it just added to the insanity that I was experiencing through the media. The thought that there could be such a thing as surgical bombing. It was just, I just found it abhorrent. And my counteraction to that was to begin surgical bombing with this particular painting. And I had an eyedropper, and I literally used the dropper as if I was bombing the painting with color, and that's kind of part of my creative process. So it does remain as a real strong consolidation image for the whole of what the lightning path is about. It's really an inner path, and there's a lot of ancient wisdom available to us if we're willing to do the work and really get engaged. So yeah, thanks for that opportunity to share.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's awesome. That's whenever I go on your website, I always contemplate. So, and so we can call this as a collage, correct? Because of you put some collage. Yeah, it goes well with this month's art class. So thank you so much, and I may include your picture into collage and against war, and what happens with the artist in this particular period of time. Yeah, cool. So let's go to, is it anything else you want to add?
Maybe just to, it's the full title has always been Descent of the Skywalkers.
Oh, okay. Descent of the Skywalker. Okay, I will make a note of that. And before I send it out, I make Descent of the Skywalker. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that is, and here you go. So this, I took courage and I basically copied that from your website. The basic building block of the lightning path is the Tzolkin, universal spiritual, finding the 20 sacred hieroglyphs with the 13 sacred numbers as shown in the diagram below, which gonna be the next slide. Each combination of the Tzolkin number and the glyph represents a transformation, one stage in a 260-stage process, the purpose of which is the development of cosmic consciousness and unconditional love, how amongst the practitioner. So I cherish this statement here because it's really the essence. I think it just shows us the essence, what is the lightning path, and that contains the Tzolkin, the glyphs, and then what is the purpose the purpose is development and understanding cosmic consciousness and how we can practice. We are the practitioner of unconditional love. So here is the Tzolkin, the radial Tzolkin, and I will have my laser pointer, and here you go. So here you are. This outside circle shows us the glyphs. Then the inside circle shows us the numbers. And of course, the center is the Hunab Ku, which is the galactic core. And it is one of the starting point. If you go to Dwayne website, you will see that this is one of the starting point of the pictures. And this is, of course, the other one is exactly the same. It's just showing different use of black and white. And yeah, I have been fascinated with this galactic core of Hunab Ku from a long, long time. And I learned that this is actually the Mayan version of ancient Chinese yin and yang. I have found in my research a couple of other artistic expression of the glyphs. And so here you go, the glyphs, of course, showing the outside circle, and then the numbers, and this central figure is, I think I have a write-up. Yes. So here is the three parts of the Mayan calendar or the Tzolkin. We have the center, the load being carried is another calendar glyph, this time one of the 20-day sign. In fact, the last one is Ahau, meaning the Lord of Ruler, and other images using the Hunab Ku as a center. So that is, you will see in different artistic expression that the center holds different ideas. And we have, of course, the mathematics, which is 13 sacred numbers, which requires only three symbols, dot representing the value of 1, a bar representing 5, and the shell representing 0. And then, of course, we see the 20 sacred hieroglyphs, which is the Mayan writing system. So I made, maybe I just go back for a moment. So that shows, again, it's the different center, and here is the different center with the Hunab Ku, and that is creates the radial Tzolkin, the foundation of the Mayan calendar. And I just made up a quick refresher about the Mayans. I think we all know this, but sometimes it's good to just review that they were indigenous people of Mexico and Central America. The term Maya came from the ancient Yucatan city of Mayapan, the capital of the last Mayan kingdom. Between 250 and 950 CE, came to be known as a classic Maya period, saw the emergence of 8 cities of the Yucatec Maya. The Maya civilization of the Mesoamerican people is known as the ancient temples and the glyphs. Its Maya script is the most sophisticated and highly developed writing system in the pre-Columbian Americas. It is also noted for its art, architecture, mathematics, calendar, astronomical system. So we see that this civilization is really, really rich and enriching our life. And some people believe that Mayans actually the descendant of the Atlanteans. So that's just the legend talks about that, how the Mayans actually came to this particular area on the planet. And here's another visual expression of the glyphs, and then we see the similar expression of the center of the carrier of the Lord. And then it's just an expression of the numbers, and then we see that how the dot and the on line actually creates certain numbers, and this is a representation of number 7. And then it is a quick write-up of how they created the writing system and a combination of the whole word symbols and syllables. Their script contains approximately 800 signs of glyphs. In order to decipher and understand the meaning of the hieroglyphs, the signs need to be matched to the language encoded in the script. The voice of Maya hieroglyphs is rooted in 3 spoken Mayan languages, Yucatec, the Cholan, and the Chorti. Since the 1950s, so we see this is really only the last 70 years bringing awareness and interest. Scholars from all over the world have been able to decipher and read a large portion of the Maya hieroglyphs. These hieroglyphs are found carved in stone at archaeological sites, painted ceramic vases, painted on paper in accordion-shaped books called the codices. Use this interactive tool to read the glyphs from stone carvings related to the Mayan calendar. So even in this very short write-up, we see that how rich is this culture, and we are very fortunate that we have access to it. And here is another representation of all the 20 glyphs with the names, and yeah, it is actually quite fascinating to look at them each as a little piece of art. And here's another manifestation, and I just brought this in because I find it fascinating. When I was doing some research on Mayan calendar, very often the Aztec calendar came up. And so I just want to make it sure that we understand that when we talk about the Mayan period, not confusing it with the Aztec period. It is location-wise, it is in similar location, but it's a different period and different cultures. And here is Hunab Ku, which is the galactic core, a symbol of the galactic core. And as you see, it is a magical sign of incorporating yin and yang and black and white. And as here it says, Mayan symbol of the galactic core. And I just found it was fascinating when I was looking at what is actually the meaning of any symbol. You know, like this is a language of symbols. And if we read this text here, I was fascinated with the idea that it comes from the verb meaning throw together, put together, compare, alluding to the classical practice of breaking a piece of ceramic in two and giving one half to a person who would receive a future message. And I thought this is fascinating because it feels like through this symbology, we are receiving message from the past, but we can use it as a future message, how to create our own future. And one of the half of the person who would send it, when the two fit perfectly together, the receiver could be sure that the messenger bearing it did indeed also carry a genuine message from the intended person. So when I am looking at this write-up of what is the meaning of the symbol, it almost feels to me that the people who are interested in this time in the Mayan history and art and messages, we are kind of somehow we are fitting together with this ancient knowledge. A literary or artistic symbol as an outward sign of something else is a metaphorical extension of this notion of a message from a sender to a recipient. So I feel that the Mayans sending us this message and we are willing to receive this ancient knowledge. the English, the meaning something which stands for something else. The first recorded was in 1590 by Edmund Spencer, Fairy Queen. So that is, I think, at first I thought, maybe this is not that important. It's about big deal about the symbol. But when I read and I saw behind the words, I thought this is actually quite fitting. As I said, I feel that messages from the Mayans coming to us, and we can use this as a future message. And I feel somehow we are kind of a conduit of this magical mythology and knowledge. And I just put it up here again to see the magic of this visionary or visual picture of the radial Tzolkin. And then here is the book. As you know that this presentation will have 3 book review, and that was quite amazing when, as I said, I have been fascinated a long time with this Hunab Ku symbol, and I was excited when Steve and I we were traveling in California in one of the bookstores. This book just showed up, and it is actually, as you see, the title of the book is Hunab Ku. It has 77 sacred symbols, and then on the side you see that is actually Hunab Ku. They chosen the green, the heart consciousness, the love consciousness, and then the others are going from red and using the rainbow colors up to violet. So I cherish this book. I use it as one of my oracle book, and I thought that it perfectly fits into our learning about the galactic center. And so I made these handmade rainbow color chart, because when I was looking at the book, I said, yeah, it says it's 77 sacred symbol, but it's really, we go up from the red color to 39, and then the 39 goes down the violet color number 1. So it is actually quite a magical book, because it's even it says 77 sacred symbol. It's not like going from 1 to 77, but the part of the group is the center of the book is the 39, which is the galactic center. And you see, these are just, I had to put some lines here because the whole thing was kind of floating. And these are seeds. Steve said, what are these seeds here? So we can choose this as a seed, the foundation of our knowledge. And when I did that, I said, oh, how interesting is this? This is similar like our magical temples, what some of us visited in central Mexico. And then here you go. Hunab Ku is the galactic core, the opening for knowledge and understanding pouring down at specific times into Earth. Hunab Ku, one Lord, is the God that ushers us all through passages between worlds. Carl Johan Kalman likens the Hunab Ku to the universal word tree and translates it as one source of limits and energy. We are moving into the Mayan called the Age of Itza, the age of consciousness. This movement into the coming cycle begins in December 2012. That winter solstice marked the time on our planet and the gateway to the galaxies, the great mover, Hunab Ku pulses and fills us with intelligent energy. So this is kind of the significance, this particular date, and it's opening to a new era, a new phase in our consciousness and in our planet phase. And here you go. So here is the center of the book. And you see they created the green color, which is the heart color, the heart chakra. And it's all about manifesting love. And I was very pleasantly surprised that when I researched other cultures, I found, you see my handwritten notes in my book, that I noticed that in the Hindu culture, the Sri Yantra, they look at it as a similar meaning to it. And then, of course, in the Buddhist culture, we have the Dhamma wheel, which is expressing the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And in the Japanese culture, we have the Sri symbol, the Magatama. And then I found that in the native culture, we have Sipapu, and then, of course, in the Chinese culture or the Oriental culture, we have the yin and yang sign. So it is fascinating me that all ancient culture in different visual form somehow bringing into this connection to cosmic consciousness. And the next page, which is relating each each visually expressed on the in the book, and this is, as you see, 39. And then the next page is still 39 in the green colors, and that is actually talks about the lover and the relationship. And I'm just gonna read these that you know you are one with God, one with the ultimate essence, the source of all. You know this within your heart chakra, the place within your chest, where prana, the life force resides, where one breath, one mind, our spirit, and our bodies are joined. So I thought that is a very essential expression what we are aiming here, really understand our oneness through this process and understand that love and relationships are most important. And I thought that I will show again that what is the purpose of the lightning path is the cosmic consciousness and practice unconditional love. And here you go. I have, as I said, I have been fascinated with this glyph, and I made art. This is a 24 by 24 canvas, and I thought that we can look at just the very first symbol, which is, of course, starts with red and number 1, and that is called the Great Bear. And then the next page is, I find it was fascinating that the title is content is solitude. And I find that sometimes for these processes, it's good to have our solitude to really, as Jane mentioned, to go inward. Inward meaning us bringing into solitude and really experiencing what is happening in our heart and spirit. Then I thought I will show you the other end of the book, which is, of course, the violet. And that is, as I said, this is an interesting book, starts with 1, goes up to 39, comes back to 1. And I found fascinating that the last one, unicorn, and that is the next page to the unicorn. It is actually very fascinating. I'm going to read you this particular paragraph here. Within the encircling arms of the Hunab Ku, which is 39, we spiral back to where we started, knowing we have just begun to tap into an ancient archetypal images, and their multiple layers of wisdom. Like carefully constructed mirrors, each of the 77 images reflects ourselves back to us, our whole selves. We have unicorn a singular purpose to love and care for each other and to love and care ourselves. And our unity will be perfect. So I thought that is interesting that this is the last image and that is totally congruent with what the aim of the lightning path. Again, here you go, purpose of the development of cosmic consciousness, understanding that we as a human being, we are a conduit between the cosmic forces, cosmic energies, and our body is actually being on earth is the conduit between the earthy energies and the cosmic energies, and the center of this is really our heart, a heart-centered living, a heart-centered consciousness coming into this so-called age of consciousness. And I was part of a project of Steve's project was the 1008 Buddha project. And again, as I said, I have been fascinated with these glyphs, these Hunab Ku, and I painted this and I put a golden Buddha there. And if you go on Dwayne's website, you will see that actually there is a visual representation of the lightning path, which starts with the Hunab Ku and then goes through the temple and then ends up with a Buddha image. So I thought this is so much synchronicity of what the lightning path and what is my visual artistic expression during the years. So this book, this is the second book, which is I found it was I bought it a couple of years ago, and I keep reading it on and off because it's not like a book what you read and then you put it down. It is very fascinating. And so I was reading in one chapter, and then Payne says that he has this book or he is interested. So I thought it was very much of a synchronicity again. And then, of course, it says the hidden determinants of human behavior. That was the original reason I picked up the book, because I have been interested in human behavior. And then when I was looking at this visual expression of the front of the book, I thought, oh, this is interesting. One side is white and the other side is black. And then the letters are black and white. And I thought, oh, how interesting. This is actually looks like a yin and yang sign, which is, of course, the Asian expression of the Hunab Ku. And then I looked at inside the book and I thought, oh, how interesting. Even it is the beginning, it says hidden determinants of human behavior. But in essence, the book is about the anatomy of consciousness. So I thought, oh, how fascinating. This is really fits into the age of Itza, the age of consciousness. So I thought that it is appropriate to share this book with us. And I took a couple of photos, and here it is. This book makes a huge promise, perhaps the biggest promise that has ever been made to you. It can provide you the means by which you may detect if you are being misled. You need never read a book or buy into a major teaching again without testing it first. It's too dangerous and too costly. The level of truth of this work itself has been calibrated at 750, which is unusually high for this time in this culture. I pray this is already a partial fulfillment of the promise. My hope as an author has been that this work might undo the very sources of pain, suffering, failure, and assist the evolution of human consciousness in each of us to rise to the level of joy that should be the essence of man's experience. So again, I found in these few sentences, it's very much showing us what is the essence of the book and what is the essence of our journey to embrace joy, love, creativity, peace, and all the we will see in the next pages of the different calibration. And then I found this was a two pages of words of kind of showing us the different vibration of one column is shows us almost like a love vibration, and the other column is showing us a kind of a lower vibration. So this book is all about raising consciousness, really. And it says here, simply having read over this list, you are no longer the same person. Merely to become acquainted with the differences between these poles begins to increase one's inner power. With this distinction, we will start to notice things we never observed before. Such revelation occur because, as the reader will discover, the universe favors power. And of course, in power is knowledge and wisdom, and in power, we can choose and create a loving world. And here you go, it's a universe, an infinite number of dimensions in our, I can see it, three-dimensional universe of conventional consensus is only one and merely an illusion created by our senses. The space between planetary bodies is not empty but filled with a sea of energy. The potential energy in 1 square inch can be said to be as great as that of the whole mass of the physical universe. David Bohm has proposed the model of unfolded states of being is an explicit order and an implicit order of reality comparable to the manifest and unmanifest states of reality, which have been described for centuries by those who have achieved enlightenment and experienced non-duality. So we see that the is David Bohm, and we are entering to the phase of quantum physics and quantum ideas. But it amazes me that actually what we experiencing in this phase of the human consciousness, it seemed like that the ancient, including the Mayans, the sages of India, they all knew about this process of liberation and the process of embracing unconditional love. And here you go. This is getting for a little bit technical, but I thought it's good to be aware the difference between the manifested and the unmanifested, because really we actually can manifest from the unmanifest. And then, of course, this book is a measurement. It's giving us a measurement how we manifest from the unmanifest. And this particular book is using kinesiology of the method of measure. And why is it important to measure? Because what gets measured gets improved. And here is the center of 52nd page of this book. And I think when I found that book, that was one of the motivation. I really bought this book because I have not seen any other literature that actually shows that we can measure it. And I show you the different level of vibration of different emotions, and starting, of course, out with shame, guilt, and apathy, and grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride, and courage. I see that courage is really a pivotal point and we can, from courage, we can move up to the next levels of neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment, pure consciousness. So it is actually quite an amazing, I find it's quite an amazing chart, and look at it and consciously choosing which vibration I want to function. And I see that once a person have courage, I think that's a very important understanding that is this level of new consciousness, we are moving into a new phase and new ideas, which I feel humanity is just at the verge of embracing unconditional love. And I was thinking what visual image I can find to unconditional love. And what came to me is one of these mandalas, and it's fascinating to see. Color chakra, the wheel of time, sand mandala. Um, it is created by the Buddhist monks, and if you have a chance sometimes to seek out where I know that there are sand mandala artist travels in North America, and see when I had an opportunity to witness a 5-day ritual when they build this, and very often the Dalai Lama is invited to, to will help and make it as a ritual, and it's all the intent when they invite either the Dalai Lama or the monks to build this color chakra is promoting peace and love in the community. And now we are entering to the third book, which is just came recently to me. Dr. Alberto Villoldo, he is kind of I met him, or not met him, I took some courses from him because of my shamanic interest. And very surprisingly, I saw, oh, he has a new book, and I thought that is interesting because how spirit and power plant nutrients can transform your health or grow a new body. And he is one of the person who, when I took his course, he started to talk about this human light body or the Homo luminous. So I thought that, as Jane mentioned on the beginning of the presentation, that the human light body, oh, here we are. And Dr. Villoldo talks about Homo luminous. So that's the reason I thought his book is really fits into this presentation. And here we are. We named ourselves Homo sapiens, as human, and sapiens is derived from the Latin word that means wise or astute. We are evolving from a carbon-based structure to a crystalline-based structure. Our light bodies are being created from an intended, focused spiritual practice. So I think that is a key to remember that that's what we are doing as intended, focused spiritual practice is the intent that we are embracing this human light body, or as we call it, Homo luminous. Becoming a Homo luminous with ancient spirituality, molecular and psychological sciences, and magic plant medicine consciousness. So his book is really based on sharing with us about these 5 principles, which is ancient spirituality, molecular and psychological sciences, and the magic plant medicine consciousness. We are going to take a quantum leap into what we are becoming, moving from Homo sapiens to Homo luminous beings with the ability to perceive the luminous energy field. So in this one slide is really the essence of his book. And I have some fun, colorful slides, so I just gonna go through because I am looking at the clock and its clock is ticking. So here you go. Homo luminous like being growing a new body, becoming a homo luminous with ancient spirituality, molecular and psychological sciences, and the magic plant medicine consciousness. And of course, because Dr. Villoldo is a Peruvian shaman, he is focusing on that particular ancient spirituality. But we see that in our studies, we are focusing on the Mayan calendar and the Mayan ancient spiritual studies, and then molecular sciences and psychological sciences and superfoods and super supplements. So the next couple of slides will focus on these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here you go. So here you go, ancient spirituality. Advent of Homo Luminous. This is written by Dr. Villoldo in the Conscious Community Magazine.com. So I kind of put that in here. So if you have time or if you are interested, what is his approach to the ancient spirituality? It is, as I said, he is part of the Andes and the Amazon and the Peruvian shamans. And here is the molecular science, which of course he talks about the neuroscience is the scientific study of the nervous system, functions, and disorder. It is a multidisciplinary science that combines physiology, anatomy, molecular biology, and developmental biology. So this is again very amazing. It's only neuroscience only happening in the last 50, 60 years, and they are at the moment focusing on epigenetic and neuroplasticity, and how actually epigenetic is how the cell controls gene activity without changing the DNA sequence. So it is part of this molecular change. And if you want to study more of it, I put Dr. Bruce Lipton name here because he's an expert on epigenetics. And the next one is neuroplasticity. It is actually quite fascinating what we are discovering with before neuroscience. Western medical doctors believed that the brain and the nervous system cannot be reorganized, but now we know reorganizing structure, functions, and connections. So this is in some degree, it's a breakthrough in the Western medicine. And in chapter 3, he talks about how we can rewire our brain for cooperation and joy instead of competition and fear. So this is the new era we are entering, cooperation and joy instead of competition and fear. I just put a couple of colorful pictures because I love visual images, and this just shows our magical brain. And here is, again, shows how the actual neurons, the synapses, and how the chemical and neuroscience showing that how these dendrites and the nerve cell functioning. So it is actually quite an amazing study to what they are discovering about how the brain and the nervous system works. And then the number 3 is the psychological sciences. And again, psychology as understanding the human psyche and the human behavior is a very just recently, about 150 years ago, we studied this, but it's really happening, and more people are understanding the human psyche and understanding human behavior. And parapsychology is another area which we are entering, which is telepathy, telekinesis, extrasensory perception, mind reading, hypnosis, and near-death experience. So it is really, I'm finding that in the last 50 years, these areas are just exploding with new information and new experiences. And of course, the basic of his book is about the superfoods and super supplements. And I just made a list, and then I came up with this kind of a summary because he talks about many different food, and I thought, no, this feels like actually a Mediterranean diet. So I thought this is one of my favorite books, and here is another nice visual representation of what he's promoting. And then I just love colors and beautiful berries. And here is green vegetables, and then of course the legumes, and then we have more legumes, and then nuts and seeds and oil, they're important because of the brain food. And then there is more visual picture of the seeds, and then walnut is very important, and tahini, and then here is a typical Mediterranean snack. And then, of course, we all know avocado and the importance of fish oil. And then the importance, this is a very fascinating, this fermented food. It is just really getting discovered in the last 30 years, maybe, talking about the importance of the biome. And then he talks about the super supplements, which is, of course, the top is the brain food, and then the other antioxidants and anti-inflammatory food. So this nutritional approach to taking care of our physical health and our brain health is just really happening probably in the last 50 years or so. So the last one, the number 5, magic plant medicine consciousness, I found it was interesting because he uses this term in his book, but I didn't find in the book any text about. So it's either it was left out or I am not seeing it. But I thought, okay, I'm gonna put some mushroom pictures here because to me is when I hear magic plant medicine, it's always relating to mushrooms. And again, I put here is that the next slides from 7481 is my own notes. It's not part of his book. And I just noticed that the psychedelic is in a renaissance. It's so exciting because I really see that the psychedelic is really becoming a very method of therapeutic for some people really use these psychedelics as a good medicine. And then the next one, I just put this colorful picture here. And then this is when I was doing my research, this chart just simply showed up, and I thought, wow, it is actually fits in because if you look at the top of the title, it says 5 steps to a happier life. Like, what is happier life means? Meaning that we approach life from gratitude, love, caring, passion, and this actually shows, as you see on this chart, if we go around, I let you to look at it at home, that everything is goes towards love and goes go beyond yourself. So it is going to go towards self-love and then possibly expressing that self-love and gift to the community. And truly the greatest gift to give is that of your own self-transformation. So I found this the note from Lao Tzu, who is of course part of the Yin Yang Chinese, ancient Chinese culture. I thought this is appropriate to put that quote here in because this whole process is about self-transformation. And then I just explain it a little bit what is self-transformation is. The expansion of human awareness consciousness beyond the confines of the status quo. I saw that in Payne's notes, and then on different notes I saw saying awaken to conduct an intentional and authentic life in every moment, live a heart-centered life, to embrace a life that is more meaningful questions and answer than just asking, oh, what for dinner? Which I think is an important question, but we can go beyond that and lose yourself in an infinity of wonder, awe, joy, love, gratitude, and creativity. I just recently saw a study, Berkeley psychiatrists, they are conducting a study on art. So that is a kind of an interesting thing to see that his qualities are really coming to the human consciousness. And I put this fire here because Dr. Bioldo talks about purification, and of course, this is, and I find that a campfire has always has some magical energy to it. And again, I just thought that we can use conclusion, original invitation, which is says that let's discuss the lightening path and emerging synthesis of some of humanity's most ancient and enduring fields of knowledge. And that's how we started this group in May 2022. And then this is my last slides. It shows that we are the light body, and now these I find that these three books each has something to offer us how we can um, go strong on this path of becoming the light bodies. Thank you, and now I'm gonna stop sharing, and we can come back to exit slideshow, and I need to stop another button, and we are back, and here you go. Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice. All right.
Wow. That is a very full 45 minutes. Wow. Thank you.
I think I try to make it compact as possible because, as you see, all three books has a massive information to offer. But I thought that it actually gives us a little taste that how these authors fits into our consciousness and what I thought that we can take a little piece of information from each book, how we can enrich our own process.
Well, I'm very impressed at your capacity to tie unconditional love together with spirituality and science and superfoods. Yeah. You have an amazing capacity to tie that all together.
Thank you.
So, just listening to it, I feel homo luminous.
Yeah, it's like you took the center of it being the Hunab Ku, and then it like that was the like it reminds me of a stone being dropped into a pond, right? So that's what's dropped in, and then you just allowed the ripples. You presented us with only some of the infinite number of ripples that come out from that core, because when we drop something into water, then the ripples go on forever and ever, and that's how I see your presentation, is that you've given us this little core and you started us on a potential journey and kind of go, oh yeah, I want to follow some ripples, and you connect a whole bunch of dots around. So That's awesome. There's so much to take in. Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that metaphor. Yeah, that's very cool. As you say, drop the stone into the Hunab Ku and then see what happens. Yeah, very cool. Thank you. I like it.
Yeah, very, very interesting view.
Yeah, I think from there, what comes is all this science discovering, like the epigenetics and to me, it's what the Buddha knew. He discovered the kalapas, the eight-sided atomic particle. And the difference between the scientist and the meditator is the meditator experiences it, where the scientist, like the example that Vipassana uses, is that the scientist used the bubble machine and discovered it. But that's like reading the menu when you go to dinner. Oh, that's what's can be eaten. And then you're waiting for your dinner to come and you're seeing other people eating and enjoying. But really, until you experience eating, you don't know. And I find that's kind of the difference between the scientists and the meditators. In those three books, there's so much to experience. Like you've given us all these possibilities or all these ripples, as Shirley says, and you can ride one and experience it. So that's really what came up for me is all of this information, but there's experience to connect. And really about those symbols, that was really fascinating to get that, connect with those messages or the experiences of the ancients. That was very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. I think it goes back to that point when Cain says about the descending the Skywalker, that he had that physical experience and he actually visually expressed it. Yes. So I think, and that's very important. As we know, the books give us the knowledge and embracing the knowledge, but we actually have to practice it. And I think that's what is our lightning path offers us. Practice it as we see how the serpent moves through the glyphs. That's where the experience is. Isn't that, Wayne?
Oh, you got it. Absolutely. And you're such an exemplar here. I love that it's the Mandela principle, which is dear to your heart, I know. And here you are living that, being that Mandelic presence. And for me, having had the intention to share this work through these monthly meetings, this is just such a fulfilling experience for me to see you stepping up and spending the time to make that presentation. I know they don't just happen at the drop of a hat, and and then to deliver. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it's
I like the perspective you're having. I really like that one can see how different people approach with their own soul being, because we're all looking for connections and our soul and wanting to know where we are coming from. So it's interesting which path you are looking. Let's compare it with a path going through a wood. You know, which one would you choose? And you chose this, let's have some books, get information, and finding all these beautiful images also, you know. I've never seen it like this, you know. I've seen a new way of seeing Hunab Ku, because Hunab Ku was something out there in the universe for me, but it looked like the center of a mushroom head, for example. You know, the dimension, it was so real. It became so materialist, so material, visual. You could finally see something which you only could be visualizing all the time. So you're bringing it down into on a level where I can compare this Hunab Ku, which I thought it's very cosmic, into the microcosmo, macrocosmo into the micro, like the mushroom head. You know, like when you look a mushroom from underneath, it has also this like pulling you inside energy. I don't know, but that was how I felt it. Like for me, it's more like always out in the cosmos and story, but it's not only out there, it's here and now. It's like in physical reality. I like that point of view. I've never made that. So yeah, it's a good reminder to stay more grounded. Definitely. And find information here and now. Like somebody told me the other day, you know, and then I went to this bookstore and this book rolled into my hands. I didn't really look for anything, but she said the book jumped on her. I said, what are you talking about, you know? But there are certain books who are just jumping on you. And then you get all the information you were looking for all your life. All of a sudden you say, oh my God, this puts all the strings I have in my head together into a new picture. And that's how mandalas actually are created.
When
but
you
I
speak
love
of
the Mayans. Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
when you speak of like the book jumping off the shelf, that was exactly the experience I had when I first picked up Rudyard's lunation cycle. It was like kaboom. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't know I've been
sometimes they
waiting for
do
this book, but here it is in my hands and it's like vibrating.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
That happened for me with this little deck. It's a little message deck called Divine Feathers, and so but I have several tarot decks, but this little deck, I was in the store and the store owner handed it to me, and it literally went in my hand, and my hand seized it, and I could not let go of it. I could not give it back. So I ended up walking out of the store with it. It just was like, you have to have it. It's like, and I wasn't even there to buy something for me. I was there to buy something for my friend. But today's card I wanted to share is I don't know if you can see it well. It's Blackbird.
Oh.
And the Blackbird is about the magic and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. And
wow, yes.
And I think that its affirmation is I embrace and open to the mystery and magic in life. And Blackbird reminds us not everything is as it seems. You're called to look at the unseen realms. And you know, a summary for your presentation, Sophia, this is what your presentation today was about. For me, that it all ties together. You were showing us some other unseen realms that we haven't seen or connected or thought about, and it's like this is an invitation to step into it and see what is here. What is that magic as we try and transform our bodies from Homo sapiens to can't even get my tongue around it, luminous. And and it's just to step forward and do those things on all those levels. And that was the card I pulled today. And it just seems that this is exactly what is happening, and what you've given us to think about, and all your little seeds at the bottom of your picture. I've had seeds coming at me for the last 3 days because my birthday is that I am Temple of Seeds. And so tonight I will do the invocation and I'll step into it. And even yesterday, I played for the little church, and all the hymns that we sang about were seeds of the earth, and how are we as seeds. So I'm going to say it's a very powerful new moon time, and for all around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
I need to add to the Falling Book Club, seeing that we're in the 70s club. What would it be, 35 years ago, going through my separation, searching, having no idea, and literally I brushed the shelf and the book fell off onto the floor, and it was called Relationships, and which I really knew nothing about. I picked it up. It was very psychological. It was overwhelming, but I felt there was something there. And but it fell off the shelf. So it got me started in my looking at my inner self, going inward. Because we were talking about that this morning. I always came from maybe the religion taught me that I'm supposed to deal with the cards I'm dealt, instead of being able to discard and choose some new ones.
Transform, yeah.
Yeah, but no, you just have to be victimized with the cards you're holding. So
I also liked the part, and Steve, that must be good for you, the experience with food, and I just recently, I love chaga. Chaga is really the Siberian mushroom, and it's grounded, and it's first, I experiment with myself. I don't believe what the paper's saying. I'm not a very good rule or what the paper says is right. I have to experiment. So, and this chaga tea for us older people is so revitalizando. It gives you power. I can feel it. It's like working inside, and also like other stuff, which is like this is the maki berry, because I have problems with my eyes sometimes, and for like through all kinds of informations via my friends, somebody said this is very good for your eyesight. So I'm trying this, and it's very small doses, like mini doses. And I have the feeling my eyesight is getting better, but sometimes it's also imagination. But I don't mind, if you feel yourself improving and changing your capacity of, like eyes sore, or with this wind always, infections or blurry, like all these old people putting up with that shit. And you don't have to, you can supplement.
Yeah.
And this is also to improve your soul. That's what Sophie just said, and I like that. I really appreciate that, because I'm also eating a lot of Indian food, and the Indians, they're amazing, you know. They don't give you food just like this. First, the food they are making, first, who eats are the gods. And then she can put other stuff in. And they have they don't put spices in, because the gods don't like spices. So first they have to eat, and then the humans eat. I thought that's, this is like, it reminded me of that we did prayers before we were eating in my childhood, for example. You know, after the war, everybody was super happy to have some food on the table. So this connection until, to food also, to be spiritual, I like that. And I appreciate it. And plants have so much magic and special magic. And I think we're going to see more. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
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 Shagati.
Yeah, we have shagati. We drink shagati. It's fantastic.
You like?
Yes,
Yes.
the mushroom, the world of mushrooms. Yeah, it's. I actually have. I am working on another presentation of at the local university. I am doing next year. I'm doing some presentation on mushrooms, because mushrooms keep talking to me, and finally I surrendered. I said, okay, mushrooms. Yeah.
Sophia, the lion's mane
Yes.
is so good against all this cancer shit,
yes.
And you have to a couple of, but you have to know how to do the doses and how much, you know. It's interesting. I mean, this is so mind opening.
Yeah.
That
we are very fortunate. We have actually an amazing company here right on the island, and they are making magical concoction with 5 mushroom or just the chaga, or it just, if we feel so fortunate that we actually can go to the grocery store and buy it right here, and or order it online if you and we can drive up. It's only like 35 minutes from us, and so it's we live in a magical place. Yes.
But you also have to accept it, Most of the people want to stick to their habits.
Yeah.
They can still eat like they were eating with 15,
Yeah.
You have to change. I mean, you have to eat differently.
Yeah.
If you write, the word is explore and experiment and experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's in the book, but you got to activate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the company is, I'll give them a plug. It's Harmonic Arts. It's
is that young Willard?
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I knew him from when I was in Cumberland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew his father.
Yes, from Calgary.
The Wild Rose.
Wild Rose,
hugely successful. Yeah.
Yes, amazing. Yeah.
Nice. And then there's microdosing, and what's been your take on that?
Well, it's coming, as I said, it's the renaissance of the psychedelic, and the culture that I came from, we had no drugs or no psychedelics or nothing. So when coming to North America, I just started to learn and hear, and then of course the magic mushroom. You know, when I was when I was talking to people about the mushroom and you know, like the chaga or the lion's mane or reishi, you know, like pseudo Chinese medicine. I remember some people said, "Oh, Sophia, now you are out to this magic world," and so I kind of learned and uh, just be aware that what happened in North America to the psychedelics, and now I put that just a little tiny slide about the Renaissance because it's a totally new field opening of and I'm very excited to hear it. You know, I am not in it, but I know some doctors and some scientists really focusing on the therapeutic experimentation of the microdosing of different psychedelics. So I think we are entering to a magic new world of people who didn't have other healing methods. You know, like I think it's all about healing different level of damage, but humanity experienced. And I think I feel that we are entering to that consciousness where people actually accepting the fact, as Barbara said, I don't need to suffer. Like suffering is over. Suffering is over if you willing to open your mind and experiment with different things. Like maybe for some people just read a book, that's a start. And for some people are doing some practice, you know, like you have your journaling practice, and there is many different kind of practice. And or having different foods, you know, like I like that word you said, soul food, you know, like living in America, on the southern part of America, soul food means a different thing than food for the soul. But yes, there is food for the soul in both level, you know. So it just I'm excited about this new phase we entering because I see the possibilities are infinite to express and embrace our unconditional love. And I like that, as you said, it is kind of understanding unconditional love, cosmic consciousness, and how we can actually manifest it on earth, because after all, we are living here, you know, like it's, as you said, yeah, we have Hunab Ku and we have these images and we have this vibration, but actually, how do we manifest it in every day, that every moment I am living out of loving kindness, compassion?
Beautiful.
And you can see that I have some excitement and enthusiasm about this topic because I have seen it and experienced it in many different levels in my classes. That when I talk about these so-called food consciousness, and little pieces of information, people having life-altering experience. So I think I just will keep talking about it, and some people maybe embrace it, some people toss it out, doesn't matter.
But Sophia, since we are changing, we need different food. And
Yes.
all these new souls coming in, they are vibrating already on a different level. They don't need to eat pigs, you know, they don't need ham or anything.
Yes,
That's
yes,
disgusting for
yes.
them. They need, you know, some algae or some mix of different protein food, you know, from flowers, and a mix, and then you have to make a dough, and that's it. You know, I bet they're experimenting around, because I know so many young people, they don't know even how to cook anymore in the old way.
Yes. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at Dwayne send us a video on the Neptune, like now we are entering from 2011 to 2026. So all of these people who were born, you're talking about new people, and they are becoming a new phase of artists. So we see, and Steve and I did talk about that, all of our grandchildren were born between 2011 and 2026 so far. They are becoming a new conscious human phase. So yeah, very cool. And they're gonna eat different, you're right.
We're becoming lighter. So
yes.
Like you said something about the light person or the light, so you cannot be so heavy anymore. So
yeah.
When I'm too crazy and too out there, Sophie, I take some food, some heavy food because I sort of have to come down and sort of get grounded again. And diving is also like this. In the water, you have to put weight on to go down. And weight out. You can learn from the dolphins, they can swim up and down without problem. They know how to do it. It's a very connection to the dolphins here, you see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo! Yeah, it's a night, and sometimes some people don't really need to eat that much anymore because they're in this kind of bliss state, and they are living off prana. Because it's all around us.
Yeah, the breatharians.
Yeah, and sometimes they need a shaga coffee to come down.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't realize I was muted. Sophia, I didn't know if you were aware on the nutritional level for mushrooms that there's been some studies. There's some communities in Japan with related to longevity. And one of the main ingredients in their diet is particular strain of mushrooms. I don't know if you've come across it or not, but it's quite interesting that they're saying, okay, this is part of their food, but part of their nutrition, and it really has an effect on their health, overall health, and their longevity. And here's the side kicker on this. There's a couple of veterinarians in California who now include those particular 2 types of mushrooms in a supplement for dogs and cats.
Cool. Because they go naturally for it. You have seen your dog go or your cats go into the garden and looking for something special, and then they're totally chewing on it. How can they know? They don't have a book to look it up.
They don't need their book. They know.
Yeah, instinct. So it must be somewhere.
Yeah, but it's in a supplement that you can add to their food too. So you know where the ripple of mushrooms and nutrition is going to take you. Right? What kind of experience?
Maybe we need to ask the dogs. Ask the dolphins. Like that's one thing that humans. Maybe we need to learn to communicate.
Relearn.
We've forgotten to communicate with these other species.
That's true.
To their knowledge.
Yeah.
They have their knowledge.
Yeah.
We have ours, and but we also have our egos.
Ego aside and quiet the mind, and that's all you need to do is quiet the mind, put your ego aside, and then ask your question, and don't judge what comes back in your mind. They'll talk to you anytime. Yeah, you're having fun now with the little swallows are now out of the nest and learning to dive to fly, and they're on the power line. So anytime I go outside, I'm kind of ducking around and watching for them because they're still learning their twists and turns when they come diving towards me or up, and then they're yelling, "Get out of the way! Get out of the way!"
Mhm.
It's a wonderful time of year.
Yeah. And it's your birthday. Yeah. You and I remember you go on a boat tour or something. Is that right, Charlie?
No, I decided against it. Yeah, I thought
Oh,
about it, but I decided against it. I thought I would rather do something more personal for caring for myself. So I'm going to arrange this week to have a nice thorough massage and
ooh,
a facial, and yeah, just pamper my body. So yeah,
very good. So,
yeah, that'll
yeah.
be a nice treat. Yeah, yeah. Some other time I'll go up to the lake and do that more as a kind of a farewell to Manitoba whenever I move. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good to care for yourself. This is also like with the this nodes changing, the south and the north nodes changing. This is like this Aries energy. We have to focus on ourselves. So this is perfect. What you're saying, you know, it's like you have nutrition is and taking to even listen to your soul is important because we have no more time, or we give it so little time that we cannot even have a relationship to our soul. So it's really important to grow that way, to be more confident with your soul, I think. And Aries is going to give us this possibility. He's going to blast the way. You know. And Dwayne, you have Mars in Aries, so you're going to be a blasting
No,
someone
Mars
close.
in Aquarius.
Huh?
Mars in Aquarius. But my
Mars
North
in
Node is in Aries, so that's I'm
Oh
very
yeah, you have.
stiff.
That's enough. That's enough. Yeah, because this is like gonna activate you like crazy. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. Well, it probably did already. And
Well,
how
yeah.
is your painting coming along with your project, with the AI project?
Oh, well, with your feedback, I decided to dump that whole first draft. You were calling for more
Sorry.
yang, and so was Teresa. So I went for more yang images, and so I started again from scratch, and I just finished 2 days ago that first draft. So if you're up for it, I'll send you that one again. Get your opinion on it.
There's another AI program, and I sort of like the design. It's called Midjourney. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I've been
I don't
having a look at different options, but getting back to what Shirley was saying, or no, Sophia, about Neptune and how we're Neptune's in Pisces now, and it's really being prominent. I like the name of this program, Deep Dream Generator. I mean, it really speaks to the time of that's what we're in.
It is something different what you're talking about. This is a very intriguing word combination. It doesn't really have anything to do with the program. I think this is what you're gonna find out what that really is, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that, you know, it's just a word who jump out of the shelf like the books, you know. This kind of wording jump out of into your face, you know. And because I was also disappointed, I must say, of the product. I mean, I was shocked when I really looked at it, and I said, well, this is close to kitsch, you know. It's like there's no how can, with this program, you cannot create depth, or you know, it's this missing, and it's so superficial. Because this, I was also expecting something totally different and much more going into the subconscious. Maybe that's where the dream generator is waiting for you. With the help of the dolphins, maybe you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Ask them.
It's an exploration.
Yeah.
How about you, Steve? Yeah, you've been exploring that world.
Yeah, not so much this month, but I explored it when it came out, it was like, okay. I wasn't kind of blown away by it, this expectation of AI in the terms of art. But it's like the art is subjective, so I could look at it and go, okay, I see what this meditator's out in front of the church, more or less in the street. And that was more like a homeless, houseless person. And so then that creates that dream, like, okay, so what is this telling me? What is the symbols in it? And so I said, okay, that was based on one Buddha. So yeah, I can see where it can create stories out of it.
Yeah.
Or it can perk up some thoughts on different ideas. And yeah, I finally was able to get my original whale painting that I did with our group. And I want to enter that one in and see where that one goes.
Right on.
But I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm playing with that, but I'm also actually looking at instead of that kind of dreaming, I'm looking at my actual dreams.
Oh, good.
And they've been quite vivid. And I have, of course, I'm a Pisces, and I've had Neptune in Pisces for these last 10 years. So I've been playing with that. And but the actual dreams, they're coming, that I'm writing them down and journaling on them now. So that's what I did this last month.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So your sun sits on Pisces 30, is that correct?
Yeah. Right on the cusp with Aries. So I'm the dreaming pioneer at the Omega point.
There you go. That's quite something to live up to.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's been the last several months that my inner gaze has come to focus on exactly that degree as a point of, like I say, a point of focus for all of my research. It's like, and it's getting bigger and bigger, with this movement of Neptune, closer and closer to that particular spot. Well,
right.
What is that particular spot all about, And here you are on that particular spot. I mean,
I'm
how
sitting right there.
That? Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to, opening up what it is to be revealed, because there's a lot. Like yesterday, it just rained down for a couple of hours. I had trouble keeping on top of all the connections that were happening. I got this folder open, I got that book open, I'm on the internet, and it was just a whirlwind of stuff all around that particular degree. So,
yeah, and it's a dream, activating the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
called to give form.
mm-hmm.
Well, you know, Arguelles in his book Transformative Vision says art is the perfect marriage of psychic impulse and technical implementation. I mean, there you go. So it really doesn't matter what field you're working in. You know, that artistic orientation can be there.
Yeah, it's all in art.
And I have a friend in Santa Fe who, a Buddhist gal, she, I spent some time with her there, and she was, as an artist, she was exploring this notion of being a heartist. So she did very mindful installations and had people engaged, you know, engaged Buddhism, and really masterful work. I haven't kept in touch with her, but she was really pioneering a unique approach to artistic expression, you know, and engagement. And the artist, I've always liked that notion. Huh? Look, I'm a artist.
Yeah. Creating from the heart.
I think I'm going to go. I hear a DQ cake calling me. It's an ice cream cake from the Dairy Queen, and that's what I get on my birthday, Barbara. So I hear it calling me. So I'm going to sign off. So thank you so much. This is a wonderful.
Enjoy.
Happy birthday, Shirley.
Happy birthday again. Happy birthday. Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. You all
have an awesome month and see you next time. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye. So Dwayne, you have anything to add to the new moon now? Something about the new moon and the nodes, or if not, then maybe we can finish.
I do have something. Maybe if anybody else has a comment for a moment, just let me dig this out.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to do my channel again, filling up people with tarot readings.
I think he's bringing a book, Buddhist symbology. That's what you're bringing, Wayne. I think we have the same library, it seems like.
Oh.
You have that in your hand? Oh, very similar, yeah. Oh, Aztec. Oh, okay. Yeah, very similar.
And yeah, there's just kind of a fun connection here. I can find it.
Yeah, I just wanted to add with Barbara mentioning the chaga and all, and Sophia with all the different foods that yeah, we're made up of the chemicals, and then it all depends on what chemicals we put in to this body. I mean, some people put in Dairy Queen, and some people put in chaga, and it has an effect. And it's okay to put in the occasional Dairy Queen as long as that's not a habit.
I like
'Cause there's-
mushrooms. I grew up with eating mushrooms from small on. Like
Mhm.
when, you know, especially after the war, there was nothing much to eat. And we went every day into the woods now in the summertime and had our mushroom meal.
Wow.
Some potatoes, and
Mhm.
I like it. I still like it the best, you know, like, but how can you live? I mean, it's incredible how you can even think that you can live on mushrooms. You know,
Yep.
I didn't think about that as a kid. For me, it was a cool meal. It was
Mhm.
enough.
I'll have to pass on sharing that. I've totally lost track of where it was. It's a really specific detail, but it's gone.
Mhm.
It may come around again at some point.
Yeah.
So,
And the new moon we're going into is
New moon in Cancer, correct?
Yeah, you did a
Yeah.
good presentation for that. I like it. It fits you perfect.
Can, are you finding Can there? I thought you were digging for something, Steve.
oh no, I was just that's the next moon is Can.
Yeah, that's what we're moving into. So the seeds. So all the seeds in your presentation.
The seeds.
Exactly
Oh,
right.
that's what those seeds were. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Lots and lots of seeds too.
Lots of seeds. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. So you're just bang on, you know.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Moving
Yeah.
with the calendar and giving it expression.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so this is the striking of the gong. You know, that's reverberating out now for the whole of the lunation cycle. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And in this larger picture of the migration of Neptune through Pisces, it's moving to kind of like the end point of the cycle, the seed point. So bringing things down into distilling things down to their essence. I mean, that's really what we're being called to. So that when Neptune enters Aries, there's a seed harvest there to be dispersed. But we've got to go through that letting go of all non-essentials, all non-essentials, and get down to essence. So,
And it's literally coming to the ending of the zodiac. So it's ending.
yeah, it's a big
And
process.
the new beginning is starting. New beginning in the Aries.
And there you are. You're a pivotal human being in this celestial drama.
That's what I'm sensing.
How
And
can
now
I get out of this? No.
I'll draw on that courage level.
Right on. Oh, it's
And
so
then-
real, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just move up from there in that courage,
Yeah.
level. And then just trust that's what works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't go wrong with unconditional love.
Right on.
That's the final word.
There you go. Good one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
I
you,
had fun
Sophia.
to make it, fun to share it. Love you
Thank
lots.
you.
Have a wonderful month. And
Mhm.
see you and the next new moon. I don't know who is doing what, but we will just show up.
Yeah.
It's actually open right now. So, and it will be the harmonic convergence anniversary. So that
Wow.
maybe the theme there, that's something we could all kind of ponder and maybe, like you say, just show up to potluck.
Potluck, yeah, potluck. Good talking about food.
Yeah.
Potluck with a chaga mushroom in our hand and potluck for the harmonic convergence. Sounds fun. Yeah.
A good time.
All right.
The
Okay.
seed is planted.
Seed is planted. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Lots.
Love you
Love you
guys.
guys.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.